Welcome back to the Owner Seat Podcast, the show where fitness and wellness operators, franchisors, and franchisees get the real playbook on what it takes to scale with clarity, not chaos. Today's episode is for every franchise owner who ever said, my numbers are fine, but I can't figure out why I can't scale. I'm running hard, but I'm not sure if I'm running at the right pace, and my franchise system tells me what to do, but no one tells me how to actually think about the business. Because the gap between a franchise operator and a franchise platform builder is not capital. It's not location count, and it's not even the brand. It's the operator sitting in the owner seat and whether they understand the real levers of the business underneath the day-to-day noise. My guest today has been sitting in that seat for over 15 years, and she's earned the right to talk about what actually builds durable performance inside a franchise system. Nataliya Kisseleva is a multi-brand franchise operator running Massage Envy and the Lash Lounge in the highly competitive New York City metro market, one of my favorites. She was the first to market franchisee in her county for Massage Envy and built an operation that continues to outperform network benchmark 15 years after opening, including hitting peak revenue performance at the 13-year mark in a post-pandemic environment. Have you seen her LinkedIn? You'll get what I'm saying. Inside one of the most service-intensive, membership-driven franchise models in the country, she has ranked top 10 system-wide in revenue per service bed, earned network awards for excellence in membership sales and membership retention, and has been recognized as a regional leader in skincare retail, all from discipline, and you'll hear about it, capital efficient and local market execution model. Nataliya, welcome to the Owner Seat Podcast. So excited.
Thank you so much for having me. You've made such an amazing introduction. Thank you. Appreciate all the
My
kind
pleasure.
words.
You are doing such a phenomenal job. I've been following. You're very active on LinkedIn, which I really appreciate about. And you're very, very passionate about the team member experience. So I'm looking forward to jumping in with you. You were the first to market Massage Envy franchisee in the Westchester County, and you are still outperforming the network benchmarks 15 years later, as I mentioned. What did you build in year one that most franchise operators skip, and why does it still matter today?
So when we opened, we knew exactly how the operations should look. During our diligence process, we visited many locations. And in fact, I was really lucky to work for the entire week at my original developer's location that was not that far away from where we were planning to open. And I really was able to observe and actually participate in the operations as a team member. I was picking up the phones and I was literally running the shift, answering phones, servicing clients, eating my lunch in the break room with everyone else. So I really had a really good idea of how this should look. So when we opened, of course, we hired the team first. That's what everyone does. But we already had an operational structure in mind. So we were hiring people to the structure already in place. And everyone was trained from day one how to operate in that structure and that process flow. That created clarity. Like everyone knew what they're coming for every day, what was their room assignment, how they're scheduled, when are their breaks, how many people at the front desk you need at any given time of the day or day of the week. So everything was very set up from day one. And that operational clarity created some transparency, of course, and ease of getting data. When you get the data to look at your operations, financial data, sales data, it's very easy to see your results pretty much immediately. So it feeds into your QuickBooks or whatever else you're running for your accounting seamlessly because it's just everything is very clear. There's no mess, no chaos.
Yeah.
I mean, there is, but trust me, it's not, as bad as when you're opening and you have no idea what's going on and how it should look. And that clarity created financial reports. Pretty much months 2 or 3, we pretty much knew our entire P&Ls were built. Everything was tied in together, even though it was too soon to see how it looks and whether the trend is going to stay that way. We could see the trajectory. We could see our expenses. We understood, okay, well, these are the lines that are moving every month as our volume goes up. And it was a very useful exercise to do. But basically, the system from day one is what really helped us scale it faster And we still run the same system, exact same system, even though we had a lot of digital improvements and innovation, new services, but it's a very similar system from day one that we had 15 years ago that we're still operating on.
I love it. And I can't wait to unpack that a little bit. But I do want to talk about your background, right?
Mhm.
So your background, most franchise operators don't have, think P&G, Procter and Gamble, L'Oreal, Harvard Business School. How does that financial, and you talk a lot about analytics and data,
Mhm.
how does that lens actually change the way you run a service business day to day?
So, first of all, there are so many sophisticated operators, right? And they're all sophisticated in their own way, whether it's
Mm.
educational background or experience. This is what franchisors and franchise consultants have to understand now. They're dealing with a very different pool of candidates versus what it was even 15 or 20 years ago. Things changed quite a bit. A lot of people are looking at franchises with amazing, very rigid corporate experience. My husband was in investment banking before, so you would imagine
Mhm.
my
Mhm.
experience and his experience, they're
Yeah.
two nut jobs. We're really, really, really analytical. So I think that, again, going back to the diligence process, we literally had that analytical lens from day one, from look at the locations that, potential locations to build out, negotiating your lease, choosing a price point, analyzing competition, and deciding, okay, this is the price point we're going to be opening at. Everything was done with that analytical lens because you make decisions. I mean, you're signing a lease for 10, 15 years. That's a
Yeah.
commitment, right? You have your
Right.
personal guarantees behind it and many, many other things that you have to do. The cost of build out, looking for the general contractor who's going to be delivering on time and the most cost efficient way, who's familiar with the business model and can really deliver to the layout that's the most efficient to your business model. So all these things, and honestly, that's just how it stayed for the rest of our experience up until this day. This is the
Right.
only lens we kind of use. That just really take your time to analyze, look into it, collect data before you make your next move.
So good. I love that. And let's talk about the business models you mentioned. I
Mhm.
remember you posting something about, we're not in just in the massage business, we're in the membership business.
Mhm.
When did that shift happen for you? And I feel like there's a lot of operators out there, once they realize, even when you're in professional services or the services people business, a lot of it is this membership side, right? It's building up that subscription model, both heavy on the top end and really squeezing the bottom end through a great experience, retention, churn, attrition. When did that like how and what actually what changed operationally the moment you flipped that switch?
It's well, we can. Let me just address the first part of the question because we can address all the metrics a little bit later and what drives
Sure.
that. So the switch is interesting, right? So of course I fell in love with the massage therapy and skincare. And I did exactly the opposite of what everyone says. Do not fall in love with the
Mhm.
brand, fall in love with the operations that build the business. And of course, it was completely the opposite in the beginning.
I did the same way.
Luckily, right. It's like, hey, listen, they say, and you're like, mm. But again, 15 years ago, no one was really voicing it, and nothing on LinkedIn was really this, clear and active about franchising. So, of course, I fell in love with that. I trained and coached my massage therapist. I was fascinated with the results of massage therapy that you can experience with ongoing treatments, the skincare. Oh my God, I dove into this literally rabbit hole. But then very quickly you realize what actually about, you look at your top line, the product mix, like what's in that top line, and you realize that your membership fees is a guaranteed EFT dropping on your account, and it's anywhere between 70 to 80% of your total revenue for the year. So this is important. So a few months down the road, yes, my original developer is knocking on my door asking how my membership sales are doing, and I'm starting to realize I have to shift my attention and I have to
Mhm.
start focusing on sales process. And it's a process. It's not a single event. You groom your potential members. Sometimes it takes several times for them to come back and decide before they commit to a 12 months membership. Again, it's a conversation. It's a team effort. It's not just the front desk who is nice and cheerful and everyone is greeting everyone and pushing sales and throwing freebies at you. The
Mm.
service providers participate in that too. And that's
Oh, I
for
love that.
them, it's the biggest mind shift because they're used to doing treatments and doing the magic with their hands in the room, but they forget that rebooking recommendations,
Right.
ongoing treatment recommendation is what makes people come back because they trust you. You're the pro, not the sales front desk. So bringing that team process together to make sure that the whole team participates in it is something that had to happen. And honestly, my husband is much better at the front. Up until this day, I still prefer doing coaching and training massage therapists and estheticians. And I dive into every single new service launch. I love that part, the protocols, all of it. He is focusing more on running front desk and holding that tight together, because honestly, we kind of have to divide it, because that's what we're best at, So that's how
And
we
I
divide
can't
it.
wait to dive into that partnership. Let's go into the unit economics. And by the way, I appreciate your support on LinkedIn. I always see you chiming in on my post around unit economics and the financial side of things. And so thank you for your support and for tuning in. And it's such a pleasure to finally get you on here, because you have a wealth of knowledge that everyone needs to hear about and listen in and tune into. Walk me through the metrics. Walk me through,
Mhm.
as you jump in there, what are you focused on? Is it the new lead prospect count? Is it the sales conversion? Is it usage and frequency? Is it retention? What is most important to you? And what do you feel like franchisees, like, where's their typical blind spot in your
So probably not what you would expect. I mean, we can talk about every single one of those metrics, and it's going to be a whole different podcast, honestly. You can spend hours talking about, but I'm going to talk about something that I was surprised to see myself, the importance of it. And fitness people may not agree with me. And you probably know why. But in my world, usage is the most overlooked metric. Membership usage. Let me tie it all together for you so you understand exactly what I'm talking about. We were focused on selling memberships. We were a new hot kid on the block. People were coming. Prospect or new prospect count wasn't really a big problem for us at all, because everyone wanted to check us out. So we were selling memberships. I remember tracking membership sales conversions and absolute member sales on our big whiteboard in a break room. And when we got to 1,000, it was a huge celebration. It actually coincided with our 1-year anniversary almost. We actually got there a little bit sooner, but anyway, huge celebration. But in 12 months, you have membership cancellation requests coming in, and you start wondering why people are canceling. The biggest thing that I noticed is people who do not come, who are not engaged with you, who don't connect with you, who don't build relationship with the service provider and your front desk. They're disengaged. They don't feel the value of the membership.
Yeah.
They end up canceling. When they use your membership, they see the benefits of massage therapy or skincare. They know you by name. They know your front desk by name. They call and ask for specific people to just book the appointment. And I'm like, anyone can book your appointment. Why do you need to talk to Lucy, But they connect with Lucy because Lucy is happy and cheerful. And when you come to the facility every month or every week, even sometimes. So that usage makes people talk about you in the neighborhood. That drives word of mouth. Word of mouth
Right.
brings you more new leads, right? You see what happens here? And the leads are already pre-sold because they know their friend is enjoying their membership. So they always come already with the mindset of liking you because your friend likes you. And your sales conversion is getting better too. So this is how it all ties in. Used to, and still up until this day, we look very closely at inactive member base metric, which is not in the metrics that I think I spoke about in one of my posts.
Right.
Maybe I'm forgetting something, but it's a very important percentage of your member base overall to track, because those are people at risk. If they're not coming for over 3 months, start calling them. Start
Right.
inviting them to book their appointments, use up their credits in how many ways there are to use them up. But that's basically what I think a lot of people always, they overlook that metric. An anecdotal example of how it can actually help. You would never tie usage to price increases, right? But what we noticed is and we've had 4 price increases. The first one is coming up April 1st this year. I think it's 4th or 5th. I can't remember now. Honestly, it's been long enough. When people do not use their membership and then they receive an email notification about price increase, they decide, well, I'm not using it anyway. Why I'm now paying even more? Let me just cancel, right?
Sure.
People who use consistently and come and see the benefits, they're like, well, they may be whining, they may not be very happy about it, but they end up staying with you because they're hooked on massage therapy and skincare. And even those who decide to cancel because, well, it's a bit of a steep increase, or I just really feel like, it's a little bit too much inflation and price increases everywhere, they end up coming back to you in a few months because they can't find a better deal anywhere else. Because when you make a pricing decision, and especially, at least my husband and I, how we make those decisions, we use what? The analytical lens, right? So we compare our pricing to competition, to all non-member type of facilities, and we have like a little formula. We have an idea of how much we should increase. We can increase to improve our margins in the economy we have today.
Yeah.
That's an interesting tie. I've never thought about it, but having gone through four price increases, I can tell you this is the type of behavior I'm seeing. People who come regularly, they will eat up your price increase, no problem.
Absolutely. And I remember doing, and I still do, these pricing models and also model out what existing member price increase, or what we would then call, if it's a new member, rack rate price
Correct.
increase, right? So your legacy versus rack rate. And one of the variables, you're right, that's weighed very heavily, and it continues to weigh heavier, heavier, and heavier each year, is the usage, the frequency, right? So your power users, to your point, are typically not going to bat an eye. They love it. This is part of their lifestyle. Those that we haven't re-engaged, that are sitting in there, we're still collecting their dues or their revenue. And when you do that price increase, you're right, they get that notification and they weigh out the cost benefit. Why would I pay more when I've never used it in 3 months or what have you? And so I'm really bullish about that, around frequency of use. I think it's going to become even more important. That's in addition to the utilization. Frequency usage is so important for everyone out there listening. Highly recommend you listen to what Natalia just said on just auditing your entire MBAL, your membership balance, your membership base, and seeing how many times are they coming per week, per month. It's really important. And from a financial lens nowadays, when I go and do audits of people's businesses and their financials and I look at their dues, I'm going that deep. I want to know how sticky those dues are.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a discount to those dues, very similar to like an accounts receivable aging balance or summary. I'm looking at who isn't using it. That's not a dollar for dollar in dues. And please know, private equity, when they're coming in to do due diligence, they're doing the exact same thing. So
100%.
you want real dues, meaning sticky longevity dues. That's important. So good. Natalia, thank you for sharing that. Let's switch gears to the team member side. So trained and integrated 30 plus, I mean, a ton of technicians and team members, right? You're using obviously a proprietary system with the brands that you're working with, but what's the hardest part of building a team that executes consistently? Clearly, you're doing something right because the results are coming. And I'm a big person on the formula. Team member experience, member and client experience leads to sustainable financials, and you're hitting all three marks. How do you do it?
So let me also switch from Massageni a little bit and talk about Lash Lounge, because I think this is the hardest out of two businesses, literally the hardest one when it comes to standardizing talent and output with the very diverse talent that you have on your team. It's 30 plus stylists certifying and training, many of them literally from scratch. I mean, they didn't know how to hold the tweezers. That's how beginners they were. So and this is literally the hardest part. It's artistry. Any beauty modality, it is artistry. Everyone creates their own final result, final look. So it's important to have non-negotiables, specific standards that everyone's work have to meet those standards. You just cannot negotiate that. How clean it is, how on time it is, how many pieces you put in. There's a lot of things that I just don't want to disclose because it's just a little bit too proprietary. But those things have to stay. But you have to allow your stylists to create and enjoy what they're doing. Too much standardization is not going to be creative enough for them, so they starting out as lash techs, then they become lash stylists, and then they become lash artists. Not even everyone, but some get that level of creativity and they create masterpieces, and you have to allow for that to happen, because otherwise
Right.
your system, your structure is going to kill that. And this is what pushes them out of the door, and they start looking at sole entrepreneurship opportunities, and this is where this is a leaking bucket. You lose the talent, right? And then each and every one of them finds their client following. They all build up their own following. Some of them are more alike than others, and they can share clients, especially if someone's on vacation or sick. But you need to allow for that freedom of creativity and what they can add to the process as creative people. Very important piece. And I think with Lash technicians it's the hardest probably category of employees I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
Because, massage therapy is a therapy. Estheticians, we have protocols and backbar that they have to follow. Lash stylists, it's a slightly different. It's definitely more beauty, more wow effect, more confidence you give to the clients. Each client's eyes and lashes are different. You cannot really standardize it that much, except for some technical part of their work. And this is literally, up until this day, is one of the hardest things I have to do, even though I've changed my hiring strategy there, and I mainly now work with estheticians who have lash experience. So I stopped doing the crazy nonsense,
Yeah.
teaching them how to hold the tweezers. But it's still the creative part is where you have to be very sensitive about when you coach them.
I like what you said around the artistry experience, right? Both for the team member, the artist, and the client experience.
Yeah.
I think that's so good. How are we creating an artistry experience? It reminds me of my time at Lifetime. That actually used to be the coveted highest award we'd award to a team member or even a club or studio is if they were artistry hitting at all levels, right? At a high level, providing an extraordinary experience. So good. Switching into private equity, I've been speaking a lot about this. You've seen it, right?
Yeah.
We have a lot of private equity coming into the fitness and wellness and beauty space. Speaking of beauty, it's blowing up. It's doing
Yeah.
tremendously well, right? But they're acquiring franchise brands very, very quickly. And I'm part of some of the pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. But you've lived through it too, right? You've seen the blitz. As soon as private equity comes in,
Yeah.
there's a ton of data that's being gathered, a ton of due diligence. What can franchisors do, in your opinion, since you've experienced that, to prep for private equity? What is you talk a lot about data and financials. What can they be doing today if private equity is coming in a year or 2 years from now, or maybe in a month or two?
Right. Well, this is something that's the thing. The home office knows that timeline a little bit better. You don't. You're a franchisee sitting
Mhm.
in field, and of course, those things are not disclosed to you until it's
Right,
pretty much done.
right,
I always, so 4 times at least, if not more, I haven't lost count how many times I've been through the private equity acquisitions within two brands.
right.
You can expect new POS system. You can expect a whole new required vendor list. You can expect additional tech fees. You can expect digital marketing agencies changed. I'm just kidding. But yeah, change is coming. And the more prepared you are at any point of time, you don't even think about private equity acquisition. Be prepared for yourself. Keep
Mm,
your process clean, your operations on point, your books clean. Have an order in place, literally, in your business. Because if this chaos from PE comes and you have your own chaos to deal with and mess, those two things together is going to be disaster. So, of course, change is inevitable. And fundamentally, I do believe that PE acquisition is a good thing. I know they create value, and we can talk about who they create the value for, but they see a much bigger picture
mhm.
in the industry and in the segment you're in with your franchise. They understand where it all moves. They likely have a point of reference about a competitive brand that was
Right,
acquired by someone and what type of changes they had to go through. But likely the change is going to be disruptive, and you have to really buckle up for about a year or two while everything is being changed, and before it all settles in and you start seeing the result of the change and innovation that Ps are bringing in and how they create value. But the cleaner your own business is, the more organized and transparent everything is for you. You know exactly what's going on in that product closet, literally in the back of it. The easier that transition is going to be for
right.
everyone on you, for you and team.
I love that. Well, you're a multi-brand, multi-unit operator. Walk me through your thoughts. I mean, there's been a lot of conversation lately about what is a valuable franchise business coach and operating advisor, right? And I know you've posted a couple things about that. What is support? I mean, what do you look for when it comes to that type of franchise business coach support, and what are operators actually needing in the field?
I think that the franchise business consultant or coach, I mean, different names of it, is a very underappreciated role. And it's a difficult role because you're in a sandwich between the home office, the corporate office, and the operators. You build relationships with operators, but still you have to translate the compliance and mandates and new strategies from corporate office to your operators. I find it as a very difficult position to be in. I was
Hmm.
very blessed and still very blessed, honestly, with my franchise consultants who helped me build my business. And what I've noticed is that I went through different life cycles with each brand, right? I was building out, I was training, coaching my new team, then I was scaling, then I was growing, then I'm reporting, then I'm changing over POS system. And at each point, you need a different type of support. I really appreciated when my franchise business consultants knew when to really zoom in and
Hmm.
help me because it was critical. I really needed hand holding, even after 7 or 10 years of running the location. It doesn't matter. There are moments where you really, okay, I'm lost. This is like so new to me. I don't know what I'm doing. And when they knew when to zoom out and just leave me alone and give me space to execute and deliver, just trusting me that I know what is absolutely unbreakable, what is compliance looks like, and how to just let me get there. I need to collect my thoughts and organize my people because you work with people. So it takes time to sell
Right.
new process, new product, new service within your team before you can actually launch it effectively. So I really appreciated that type of approach, knowing when you need to get close to your operator and really hold the hands together going through something, or you need to let them be and let them figure it out on their own.
I love that. That's so good. Well, I want to be respectful. You are very busy running the portfolio that you run, you and your husband. For all those that are listening and tuning in, Natalia, who or what would be your recommendation or that one message of advice to all of them? You've seen what works, what outperforms, but also the difference between clubs or studios or wellness facilities and destinations that do really well and the gap between those that struggle and underperform. What's that one message you want to give everyone that they can go do today, this week, this month, this year?
The struggle and underperforming. Almost everyone always asks me about revenue and how I drive my revenue and what I do for my marketing, to bring more leads. Revenue is a lagging metric. Like you need time to build that up to get your marketing on point, takes few trials. You don't see it immediately. But I would
Hmm.
definitely, and I always recommend looking at your expenses. How you spending your money? If you're running a
Hmm.
payroll, if you're running a business from payroll to payroll, literally watching your bank account and you have no idea how your financial statements look. Okay, let's operate just purely on cash balance for now, of course, because
Yes.
I don't think this is sustainable. You really need to get your books in order, but let's just leave that for now. I mean, we spoke a lot about it by now, but look at what you spend the money on. Look at how you staff your team. Are there near shifts where administrative staff is just overbooked, meaning you have too many front desk associates at the times and days where your volume doesn't really require that? That's your payroll, right? Hits your bank account every 2 weeks or every week, depends on your frequency for payroll. Um, Optimize your staffing. That's immediate impact. In 2 weeks, you're gonna see it because you're not gonna have as much for payroll to spend. Are your service providers scheduled the most optimized way, the most efficient way? Do you have enough during the highest peak hours of demand? Or are you losing out on revenue because you don't have enough there? So start
Mm.
hiring. Again, that's more of a lagging indicator. You're going to see it later,
Sure.
but start doing it. Have a look, analyze that. Spend a week at your location watching those things and observing that. It's anecdotal, but I can tell you, if you go into a closet, product closet, back closet, you can find 2 boxes of, I don't know, expired sunscreen there. 2 boxes, while their manager just ordered another one.
Yep.
And you just wonder, first of all, why were you ordering a box? Are you
Mm.
selling that much? What is your inventory turnover ratio? Do you know if you need a box, which box is usually anywhere between 6 to 12 items, SKUs in one box? Do you really need the whole box? Are you ordering to demand? Or you're just ordering because you want to have your closet full to feel good and safe that, oh, yeah, I'm never going to run out of things.
Right.
In massage and me, it's actually a very sensitive topic. We use linens, sheets, right, for the service. You order those to demand. You literally look at your schedule and count appointments. There's no other way. I mean, maybe AI can help with that eventually down the road, but don't over order. I mean, that's working capital sitting in your laundry room. And you've been complaining that you don't have enough cash on your bank account for people to, get paid. So these are small things. I know how primitive it sounds and how simple and really difficult at the
No,
same
this
time it
is
is.
so good.
Yeah, but this is literally an everyday hands-on understanding of what moves your business, what each action and each, careless and carefree spending, how it affects you. Like even those flower arrangements that you get every week, fresh delivery. Let's kind of pull that back a little bit, Wait, let's get our finances in order before you start splurging on things like that. Is it really necessary, So, I mean, there's so many things sometimes are pretty obvious when you walk in, like even now, anywhere I go, regardless, whether it's a franchise or just a private business or a restaurant, you just cannot take that hat off, like that lens. You scrutinize everything when
Yeah.
you look at
We're
it.
auditing
And you're
everything. I
like,
love it.
how do they do that? And why do they really have it? That's such a waste. You can't stop. Literally.
I love it. And this is why I wanted you to come on. And for those that aren't following Nataliya, please do on LinkedIn. You provide so much value and best practices, truly best practices that you can go do right now, practical examples. And no one's been on the show, by the way, and has talked about inventory management, cost of goods sold the way you just did, as well as line by line payroll margin and all of the different expenses, cash, right? The end of the day, it's not your P&L, it's your cash forecast, your cash flow, your bank account. That's so important. It's the runway, the bloodline of
Right?
your entire business. So I love that you just shared that. I hope people rewind and go back to that and audit their own business when it comes to those key points. It's so good. Natalia, thank you so much. For those that do want to connect with you, learn more about you, Massage MD, Lash Lounge, how can they do that?
LinkedIn is the best, clearly, because this is going to be one of the platforms that this podcast is going to be on. You
Yes.
can DM me. I'm usually pretty quick and thorough with my responses. I try not to ignore, except for a very salesy DM.
Right.
But yes, I'm available in any capacity, whether you're looking to acquire a franchise and you need someone to have a look at, the data, or you just have a question about how to run anything from your private business, small business to franchise. I'll be happy to help.
So good. Well, make sure to do that. And we talked a lot about financial metrics today, financial data, right? Auditing your financials, cash flow. So if you're a fitness or wellness operator or franchisor, franchisee who wants that CFO level clarity, think clean cash flow visibility, unit economics, membership modeling. We talked about pricing modeling, or just your finance infrastructure, bookkeeping and accounting for your multi-unit level growth. Make sure to reach out to me as well, LinkedIn or at strategointel.com. This has been another episode of the Owner Seat Podcast. I'm your host, Albert Ramos. New episodes drop every Monday and Friday at 8 a.m. Central. And I can't wait to see you next time. Natalia, thank you so much. Such a pleasure. Such good value.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate
I'll
it.
see you soon. We'll
Thank-
chat soon.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Yep.